Okay, so you guys sent in some articles about India's future in AI, and wow, some seriously big ideas here. Like, are we about to see sci-fi become reality?
Definitely some thought-provoking stuff. These articles don't hold back. They're talking about a potential global shift, and India's right in the thick of it.
No kidding. And we're not talking about just any AI here. It's AGI, artificial general intelligence. Machines that could think like us, learn like us, maybe even like outsmart us. But before we get too far ahead, what does AGI actually mean?
So picture this, a computer that doesn't just follow orders, right? It's not just crunching numbers. We're talking about a system that learns from experience, adapts, can set its own goals. Less like a calculator, more like a mind, but on a whole other level. Understanding, reasoning, problem solving.
Okay, now that's a powerful image. But what does this mean for India specifically? These articles seem to think it'll be a complete game changer.
That's putting it mildly. We're talking radical transformation, stuff that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. Just imagine AI-powered robots working side by side with farmers, analyzing soil, fine-tuning irrigation, predicting harvests with, like, crazy accuracy.
So it's like farming, but with a super smart assistant making all the tough calls. But wait, if robots are doing the work, what happens to all the people who rely on those jobs? That's a huge part of India's population.
You've hit the nail on the head. The articles admit the tech or automation, that's there. But the real hurdle for India, managing the human side of things. How do you prepare millions for a future where their skills, maybe, aren't needed in the same way anymore?
It's almost like we're talking about two sides of a coin, right? Huge potential for progress, efficiency, but at what cost? Finding that balance, that's going to be key.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop at farming. These articles are talking about AGI revolutionizing India's manufacturing, its service industries. Think smart factories working around the clock, churning out products faster and cheaper than ever thought possible.
And what about those AI assistants we keep hearing about? Are they going to be taking our calls, making our appointments?
Think bigger. This could be AI handling your finances, giving you personalized advice in a dozen languages, even doing legal work. The potential is almost limitless.
Okay, whoa, that's a lot to take in. It sounds like this isn't just an India thing. It could completely shake up the global economy. If one country suddenly leaps ahead in productivity, it's going to have ripple effects everywhere.
Right. What happens to global power dynamics when a nation like India, with its population, its resources, suddenly has this kind of edge? Trade, international relations, even security. It's complicated, no easy answers. But we got to be asking these questions now.
It almost sounds like these articles are saying India could be on the verge of becoming a global superpower, and AGI is a big part of that.
And it doesn't stop there. They're talking space exploration, off-world colonies, even tackling things like climate change and energy shortages, all with AGI as a major tool.
Now that's thinking big. But with all this talk about robots and algorithms taking over, it makes you wonder, where does the average person fit in? How do individuals thrive in a future where machines are doing so much of the heavy lifting?
That's the million-dollar question. And one of the answers these articles keep coming back to is universal basic income.
Universal basic income. Okay, that sounds like a huge change. So break it down for me. What does that actually look like in practice?
Basically, imagine every citizen getting a set amount of money every month just for existing. No strings attached, job or no job. Everyone's guaranteed a basic income.
Wow, that's a bold idea. But could any government actually afford that? Especially a country as massive as India. It seems almost too good to be true.
That's what AGI comes in. The thinking is, as AI and automation boost everything, create all this wealth, some of it gets redistributed to make sure everyone benefits. Like sharing the pie, so to speak.
Right, okay, I see. Makes sense in theory, but I gotta ask, there have to be some downsides, right? Nothing's ever that simple.
You're right to be skeptical. Critics, they say it could discourage people from working, leading to like economic stagnation. Others worry about inflation, right?
Yeah.
More money floating around, but not necessarily more stuff to buy. So yeah, definitely things to consider.
It's like we're talking about rewiring the whole system, not just the economy. Would people even want a life where work isn't at the center? It's a pretty wild thought.
It really is. We're talking about maybe changing our whole relationship with work, with free time, with what it means to contribute to society. It's heady stuff.
It's a lot to process, that's for sure. And speaking of big changes, these articles also talk about AGI's potential in education and healthcare, and what they describe sounds pretty futuristic.
Absolutely. Imagine every student, no matter where they are, has access to their own personalized AI tutor, one that adapts to how they learn, gives custom lessons, feedback, anytime they need it. We're talking about making education accessible to everyone on a whole new level.
That's incredible, especially for kids in rural areas who might not have the best schools or teachers nearby. But can AI really replace human teachers entirely? There's something about connecting with a real person, someone who really gets you, that I don't think a machine can replicate.
That's the big question, isn't it? And the articles acknowledge that. Yeah, AI can make learning more personalized, more efficient. But human teachers, they bring something different to the table, like critical thinking, creativity, emotional intelligence, things AI hasn't quite mastered yet.
It's about striking a balance, right? Using technology to make things better, but not losing sight of what makes us human. What about healthcare? How could AGI change things there?
The possibilities are mind-blowing. Imagine AI analyzing medical images with, like, perfect accuracy, catching diseases super early, or AI helping us discover new drugs and treatments way faster than we can now. It could revolutionize healthcare as we know it.
That's straight out of a sci-fi movie. But again, what about the human side of things? Can an algorithm really understand the complexities of the human body and mind, the emotional and psychological factors, all of that?
All valid concerns. And the articles, they do bring up those ethical dilemmas, data privacy, algorithms with biases, even becoming too reliant on technology. These are all things we need to think about very carefully as we move forward.
It seems like every potential breakthrough comes with its own set of challenges. And speaking of navigating new territory, these articles keep mentioning a company called Rooman Technologies. They seem to be positioning themselves as like the leaders of this whole AGI revolution. What's the story there?
What's interesting about Rooman is they're not just building AI, they're trying to prepare people for an AI-driven future. They say they're upskilling youths, getting them ready for this new world.
So they're like the bridge between the technology and the people who will be using it.
Exactly. They offer all kinds of training programs, basic coding, data analysis, even advanced AI development. Their whole thing is, if we want to thrive in this new world, we got to have the skills to match.
Makes sense. If AGI is really going to be this big, we need a workforce that's ready for the future, not stuck in the past. But with such big claims, you got to wonder, are they really walking the walk?
Right. Rooman has definitely gotten people talking, but it's important to look past the hype and see what they're really doing. How effective are their programs? Are they really giving young people the tools they need to succeed?
I guess time will tell, right? If those graduates are landing good jobs in this new landscape, then we'll know they're on the right track. But focusing on education and training, that seems like a good place to start.
Agreed. At the end of the day, this whole AI revolution, it's not just about the technology itself. It's about the choices we make as a society, about how we use it. Do we use it to create a more fair and prosperous world? Or do we just end up making existing inequalities even worse?
It's like we're looking at this huge turning point, right? So much potential, but so many big questions we got to figure out along the way.
Yeah, and they're not all about lines of code or algorithms. This is about fundamental stuff, like what is work even going to look like? What role does technology play in our lives? What does it mean to be human when we've got these super smart machines?
Whoa, now those are some deep thoughts. Makes you wonder, if we do create these super intelligences, what's that going to do to how we see ourselves?
Right. That's what sci-fi's been exploring for ages, but now it feels real. And these articles, they almost suggest India, with its unique mix of high tech and, ancient wisdom, might be the perfect place to figure this stuff out.
It's true. India's always been at this crossroads of tradition and progress. Speaking of which, these articles on AGI, they've definitely given me more to think about than they've answered. I bet you're in the same boat.
Totally. And honestly, that's a good thing. The point of a deep dive like this isn't to give you all the answers, it's to spark curiosity, get those brain gears turning, leave you with even more questions than you started with.
Couldn't agree more. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into India's future with AI, what's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from all this? What should they keep in mind as they explore these ideas?
I'd say the big takeaway is this. The future with AGI, it's not happening to us, it's something we're building right now with the choices we make. Will it be a future of collaboration, shared progress, or will tech just make the gap between the haves and have-nots even bigger? That's on us to decide. Through the values we choose, the actions we take as individuals, communities, as a global community.
Well said. A good reminder that even with all this mind-blowing tech, we still have the power to shape our own future. This has been an amazing journey, from robot farmers to UBI, space colonies, even the meaning of intelligence itself. A huge thank you to you for joining me on this deep dive, and of course to our listener for sending in such fascinating stuff.
It's been my pleasure.
And remember, as we explore this incredible world of AGI, the most important thing is to stay curious, stay informed, and never stop asking questions. Until next time, happy exploring.